Today is Friday, January 3rd. We'll bring you the latest details about two deadly attacks, a mass killing in New Orleans and an explosion in Las Vegas. Despite a lot of similarities, authorities don't believe they're connected. Also, high drama in South Korea as authorities try to arrest the president. Plus, another reversal for net neutrality, an update on the first ever congestion tolls in the U.S., and how being boring has become cool. Those stories and even more news to know coming up.
Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this.
Bourbon Street is back open in New Orleans as investigators start getting answers about the terror attack there on New Year's Day. The FBI now says the suspect acted alone when he drove a pickup truck into a crowd, killing at least 14 people and hurting dozens more. Federal agents say just hours before the attack, the driver posted 5 videos on Facebook proclaiming his support for ISIS and explaining his violent plans. Besides the crash, surveillance video also shows the same suspect placing explosives nearby. But for some reason, they never went off. Still, it was the deadliest ISIS-inspired assault on U.S. soil in years. And now investigators are trying to understand more about the attacker's path to radicalization. He was killed in a shootout with police officers, so authorities are relying on other people who knew him and any evidence he left behind. The FBI has recovered his devices, interviewed his acquaintances, and taken hundreds of tips so far. Authorities are also starting to get new clues about an explosion in front of Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. They say the person behind the wheel was an active duty soldier, specifically a Green Beret who had been awarded several Bronze Stars. And officials say the explosion was part of his apparent suicide, that he shot himself in the head just moments before the car blew up in the hotel's valet line. But they're still trying to figure out if the driver meant for the explosion to be a larger attack. At least 7 other people were hurt, but are expected to survive. Of course, investigators have noted the fact that the explosion happened at the president-elect's hotel inside the recognizable Cybertruck manufactured by one of Trump's leading supporters. There are also concerns about the similarities between this explosion and the attack in New Orleans. They both happened with vehicles that were hired through the car rental app Turo. Also, both suspects served in the army and were both deployed to Afghanistan at the same time. But authorities say there isn't anything to suggest the men knew each other. And there's no evidence to suggest there was a particular ideology behind the Cybertruck blast. For now, the investigation continues. There was a dramatic standoff in South Korea this morning outside the official presidential compound. Police tried to enforce an arrest warrant for President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived martial law declaration last month. He's now accused of leading an insurrection. But the president's security stopped police, along with thousands of the president's supporters who have been camped outside his home for days. After hours in a standoff, police backed down, citing safety concerns. They're now considering the next steps. Though President Yoon's lawyers are promising to fight, calling the arrest warrant unjustified, that police did not have the authority to request it. Already, President Yoon has been stripped of his presidential powers. His impeachment is now being handled by a constitutional court that will decide whether to formally remove him from the presidency or reinstate him. And that process could take up to 6 months. Well, back in the U.S., today marks the start of the 119th Congress. All lawmakers are set to be sworn in, including more than 60 new members in the House and 10 in the Senate. And with that, Republicans will be in full control of the House and Senate for the first time since 2019. But first, the U.S. House will have to elect a new speaker. Republican Mike Johnson is trying to stay on, but is facing some pushback within his own party. Remember, some conservatives want him to take a harder line on government spending and resist the urge to broker bipartisan deals. So he's been busy this week trying to assure them they'll be able to get a lot done, especially with the GOP in control. Johnson and other Republicans are focused on border security, energy policy, and tax cuts. President-elect Trump also wants the debt ceiling to be increased. As for Democrats, they also say they want to address immigration and inflation, though for them, bipartisan compromises are the only option. Trump will be sworn back into office on January 20th. President-elect Trump calls them traitors, but in President Biden's mind, they're champions of democracy. This week, Biden awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal to 2 lawmakers who led an investigation into the January 6th Capitol riot. At the ceremony, former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney and Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson were greeted with rare standing ovations. But in response, Trump's spokesperson called Cheney and Thompson an embarrassment to this country, echoing what the president-elect has been saying for years, especially after the committee recommended criminal charges. Either way, they weren't the only ones honored. Biden also awarded the medal to several civil rights leaders and advocates who worked on issues he's championed and told the crowd, quote, "Let's remember, our work continues." We have more news for you still ahead, but first, thanks to our sponsor.
So maybe you're done giving to other people in your life for the holidays, but what about yourself? Thanks to Quince, you can get quality, luxurious items at an affordable price, so no need to feel guilty. This time of year is perfect to get yourself an iconic Mongolian cashmere sweater, which starts at just $50. Or check out their washable silk items. I adore my washable silk tank from Quince, and that I don't need to go to the dry cleaners after wearing it. They also have beautiful jewelry, handbags, luggage, and more. I was just checking out their amazing coat options as well if you still need a new one for winter. Whatever you're looking for, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, Quince passes those savings onto you. Plus, I really appreciate that Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, and they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece. So gift yourself some luxury this new year without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/newsworthy for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/newsworthy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. A massive winter storm is expected to bring snow and ice to millions of Americans this weekend. Today, winter storm watches stretch from Kansas to Indiana and Kentucky. People along that 1,000-mile stretch will likely see snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Cities expected to see many inches of snow include St. Louis, Kansas City, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati. Then next week, forecasts show the wintry conditions move up east all the way to Washington, D.C. Colder temperatures will extend much further, like all the way into the deep south, and they'll last longer, at least until the middle of the month. Congestion-based fees to get into America's largest city are set to go into effect Sunday, despite years of back and forth on the issue. The new congestion pricing rules require people driving into New York City to pay a $9 fee. It will be the first congestion pricing fee in America and was approved by federal authorities more than a year ago. The idea is to encourage more people to take public transit into the city by making it more expensive to drive. Revenue from the fees will go toward improving public transit. But opponents have continued their legal efforts to block this program, most notably the state of New Jersey. Lawyers for the state have argued it will cause irreparable harm and asked a judge earlier this week to stop the program from going into place. But as of this morning, the judge has not taken action to stop the plan from starting in just 2 days. Another issue that's been debated for years now, net neutrality. And now the idea seems to be officially dead on the federal level. To recap, net neutrality is the idea that your internet service provider should not be able to control which websites you can access or how fast you can access them. And the FCC under President Biden wanted to move ahead with it, regulating broadband internet providers as utilities. But this week, a federal appeals court struck down the FCC's rules. Net neutrality supporters say the internet should be an open and level playing field. So big corporations, small startups, popular websites, and lesser-known ones should all get the same access and opportunity to be seen. But on the other side, critics see net neutrality as unnecessary government intervention, which could keep internet service providers from being able to manage their networks efficiently. And the court agreed with that take, citing a Supreme Court decision from last summer that overturned a 40-year precedent deferring to agencies on regulation. To be clear, though, that decision won't affect state laws on net neutrality in places like California and Colorado. Have you ever been talking, looked down, and realized the voice assistant on your iPhone or Apple Watch had been accidentally activated? If so, you could be eligible for a small payout under a new settlement. Apple agreed to pay $95 million to settle a class action lawsuit over privacy violations. The suit says for the last 10 years, every time Siri was accidentally activated, private conversations were recorded, and those conversations could be heard by employees and other third parties. As part of the settlement, Apple does not admit wrongdoing, though in the past, Apple apologized for this issue and confirmed it deleted all recordings Siri made unintentionally. Now, anyone who bought a Siri-enabled Apple device between September 17th, 2014 and December 31st of 2024 could get up to $20 per device for up to 5 devices. The deal just has to be approved by a judge first. The first major award show of the year is happening this Sunday. The Golden Globes will give movie fans a preview of what might happen at the Oscars and TV fans a preview of what could happen at the Emmys. For movies, Netflix's drug cartel musical Emilia Perez leads the way with 10 total nominations, while FX's The Bear is the television leader with 5 nods.
Comedian Nikki Glaser will host the 82nd edition of the show, coming off her successful performance in Netflix's The Roast of Tom Brady. The Globes will air on CBS and Paramount Plus on Sunday evening at 8 Eastern. In the meantime, you can catch up on a lot of the Golden Globe-nominated movies and shows on streaming now. And speaking of which, Apple TV Plus is offering its entire catalog for free starting today through Sunday. All you need is an Apple ID. There's a new dog breed on the block, or at least at the kennel. The American Kennel Club officially recognized the Danish-Swedish farm dog as its newest breed. And that means the breed will be allowed to start competing in events this year. It will be part of the working group, a category that includes Great Danes, Siberian Huskies, and Rottweilers. Though the farm dog is smaller than those breeds, so the AKC describes it as a compact working dog. Not only do Danish-Swedish farm dogs get recognition from the AKC, they're now eligible for the coveted Best in Show award at the Westminster Dog Show. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a message from our sponsor. With the start of a new year, it's a great time to start a new routine for your kiddo to ensure they're getting the full body nourishment they need. In our family, we do that with Hiya's best-selling children's vitamin and Hiya's children's probiotic. While typical children's vitamins are basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar at least, Hiya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy junk. Just a pediatrician-approved super-powered chewable vitamin that is also approved by my 3.5-year-old son. He loves the taste and the routine of taking his vitamins every morning from his own special bottle, and I love that Hiya fills in the most common gaps in modern children's diets to provide him with the essential vitamins and minerals his body needs to help support immunity, energy, brain function, mood, teeth, bones, and more. And we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. You can receive 50% off your first order. Yes, half off. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. The deal is not available on the regular website, so go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy, hiyahealth.com/newsworthy, and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. And now back to Feel Good Friday. A new club is taking the world by storm, the Dole Men's Club. Yes, it's what it sounds like, except all genders are welcome. Members just have to have lives, hobbies, or thoughts that aren't particularly interesting and be proud of it. The Dole Men's Club started in a New York City bar in the 1980s when a tax attorney noticed he and all his friends were, well, dull. So they formed a club and have been expanding ever since. Now the club's official Facebook group has 1.5 million members, also called Dolesters. And the club gives out an annual award to celebrate the dullest among them. Members post things like pictures of wet floor signs or plastic ducks in potholes, among other seemingly innocuous images. The vibe is all positive. Swearing, politics, and religion are not allowed. In addition to its 1.5 million Facebook members, the club has inspired all kinds of copycats, which the founder encourages, saying there's plenty of dull people to go around. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking about how to become a better human this new year in a not too serious, yet still helpful way. Join us for that conversation tomorrow, then again on Monday for another Daily News Roundup. For now, thanks so much again for listening and have a great weekend.